All right, so 4.2, graph quadratic functions. In vertex or intercept form. So just a reminder from the notes stuff. Okay, vertex form is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k, with the vertex being at hk. And I don't know if I emphasized it in there, but these signs here matter. If that is not the sign, then you need to flip the sign when you do the vertex. Okay. And then your axis of symmetry is at x is equal to h, just as a refresher there. Intercept form, okay, the same deal with the signs mattering. Okay. So let's go look at some examples. Okay. So graph the function, label the vertex and axis of symmetry. So starting with number 4, y equals x plus 4 squared. So this is in vertex form. So where is my vertex?
4, 0.
The 0 is right.
Negative.
Okay, negative 4. So remember, this sign needs to be negative. So a lot of times when I actually do these, I'll write above what it should be and figure out, okay, what do I need to do to make it look like that? So that'll kind of help you with that. So then my axis of symmetry is where?
Negative 4. No.
X equals negative 4. And just like how we determined if it opened up or down in the first section that we did, still if there's a positive or negative out front, that determines opens up or down. So this one's going to be up. So let's see.
Is h always going to be negative?
In the formula, it has to be. So if the sign is actually, so had this been x minus 4, then this would have been 4, 0. But if it's not like this, then it's going to be negative. And the same thing would happen if k, like let's say there had been a k over here that had been, and there was a negative sign with it, we would have to flip it because it has to be like this. All right, so my axis of symmetry is at x equals negative 4. Vertex at negative 4, 0. These are where you may not want to use 0, because if I plugged in 0 right now, I would end up with 4 squared, which is 16, and I don't want to plot that. So these ones, I'll typically just go one away. So I'm going to go like negative 3. So negative 3 plus 4 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So then I just have to go up to 1 on both sides. So in a lot of respects, these ones are significantly easier than the first section. The hardest part is remembering these signs, really. All right, number 6. Y equals 3 times x minus 7 squared minus 1. Okay, so this sign should be negative and this sign should be positive. Okay. So where's my vertex?
7, 1. Is it 7, -1?
It's -1. Okay, so this should be positive. So in order to make this positive, I would have to make it -1. It just takes like seeing it several times for it to like make sense.
In order to make it positive, you have to make it
Because we want the sign to be positive, so since this is negative, I would need to multiply it by a negative to make it positive.
okay.
So it's just flipping the sign isn't always the right way to think about it. It's how do I make this what it's supposed to look like if it's not already that. So my axis of symmetry is where?
7.
And is it going to open up or down? Up. Alright, so I need to go pretty far over here. Alright, so I've got axis of symmetry at 7. So vertex at 7, -1. So with this one, it's important to remember that you are also multiplying by the 3 here. Okay, outside, when we plug the number in, we've got to basically solve the whole equation out. So, I'm going to go with plugging 8 in because I think that'll probably be the easiest. So 8 minus 7 is 1, which squared is just still 1 times 3 is 3, minus 1 is 2. So at 8, I'm up at 2, and then I go 1 on the other side, and then just connect. All right, let's do one more of this type, and then we'll go to the intercept ones.
Is that a burger? I watched them, so they're later down.
Basically, you're graphing for those ones, you'll graph the x-intercepts, and then you just have to find the vertex and axis of symmetry by basically taking the average of the two numbers. So, harder, not necessarily. It's just a little more time consuming. It's probably a little easier than what we did yesterday, but probably a little harder than this. So, it's kind of like the middle one, in my opinion. So, alright, y equals 2 times x plus 1 that's squared, minus 3. Okay, so remember, this one should be negative and this one should be positive. So the vertex would be where?
-1, -3.
-1, -3.
What do you have to multiply it by?
Yeah, essentially it's what do you have to multiply by 1 or -1, essentially, is how you think about it. Or like, do you have to not do anything, or you know. So the axis of symmetry is where? X equals -1, and are we opening up or down? Up.
know if it's negative. I really just forgot.
It's okay.
Alright, so axis of symmetry at -1.
You did it anyways.
Vertex at -1, -3. Now for this one, 0 is probably not bad. So 0 plus 1 is 1, squared is 1. Times 2 is 2, minus 3 is -1. So at 0, it's at -1, and then we just mirror that on the other side.
I don't know why it took me that long to do 1 squared.
I don't know either. My brain kind of just froze when I said it. I was just like,
Is it hard?
Wait, I got confused for a second because I was like, wait, -1, why is it going down? Because I was like, oh, I'm not.
I know, well, that's what I thought at first. I saw the -3, and I was like, oh no, I was like, something's wrong. And then I was like, oh wait.
You just go to
It's okay, guys.
-1.
It's very confusing sometimes.
This is why math is not good in the morning. I feel like it's like.
It's actually a proven thing that math is not good before like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
That's why, that's the other factor as to why I wouldn't have wanted to go to, well, for a while I did want to go to public school, but why I wouldn't have, because the public school I wanted to go teach at would have started at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And that's entirely too early, 1, and 2, it's definitely too early for math.
Well,
Yeah.
doing math like super late in the day too is also just
I feel
like
like
you're
it
already
needs to be in
tired.
the middle.
And
It needs to
it's
be like fourth.
yeah,
Well, some
fourth-
people have it like
fourth
earlier.
period, I would say. Is
I
fine.
feel like the calculus time is pretty good, and like the stats time, like 3rd or like 5th.
I honestly don't like the classes that are right after lunch because
Drivers.
everybody is like super hyper because they had too much sugar at lunch, or they're like in a food coma.
Yeah.
There's like
That's
no
why
like,
math after lunch is just, it's not gonna work.
well, it's like the class right after lunch is hard, and then the one after that's
We
usually
have
fun.
driver's ed, so we just like try to fall asleep.
Yeah.
We'll have first aid with Coachella though. That should be exciting.
I love first. I've taken that so many times.
Oh yeah.
I actually have to try to re-up my thing really soon.
My mom had to like redo her CPR thing. It's like every like couple years, and she was doing the practice quiz, and she was like, I don't know how I can save someone's life. I got like all these wrong, and I was like, oh no.
The thing is, I've done it so many times, so I'm just gonna challenge this time. Because you can just challenge before yours expires, so you don't have to take the class again. Like I'm just gonna go to Coach Hunter and be like, hey, can I challenge mine? Because all coaches have to have it, and it expires every 2 years. And I did it literally right when COVID hit. I was like, seriously.
Yeah.
So I like basically just lost like 6 months of my
Oh.
time.
Like,
But yeah, I'm gonna just challenge mine so I don't have to retake the class. Because honestly, the online stuff is just stupid.
yeah.
I don't mind the
Like,
in-class
She passed
part.
it, but when she had to go to like the exam, there was one guy, they wouldn't let them stop until all of them got it right. And the guy was like killing the dummy. He was just like,
The ones that they have now, so when I took it here, it was like super easy to do the compressions.
Really?
Like, yeah, like it was, but now it actually has a chest that like clicks like it would if you
Yeah.
actually did it on somebody and you like broke their, because you probably will.
yeah.
And I was like,
apparently
and it like has a
like-
light that tells you if you're going fast enough.
Yeah.
I was like,
and-
yeah, I'm sure every single person that I'm gonna ever do CPR on is gonna have a light on their shoulder telling me that I'm doing it fast
Yeah,
enough.
like everybody was in green and that one guy was stayed in red the whole time, and like they were like, come on, you gotta stop it. You're killing them. Just punctured their heart. They're dead.
Yeah,
All
it's
of
so
it.
stressful. And then they're like, you're not breathing hard enough. And I was like, in COVID, I'm not going to be breathing on anybody.
Breathing, you're not breathing hard enough.
You might kill them.
It was like, the Red Cross is literally, or not Red Cross, the American Heart Association has literally said if you're doing CPR, you don't need to do the breaths because keeping their heart pumping is sufficient enough.
Well, yeah.
So I'm like, I think it's fine, but, you know, whatever.
Because once their heart starts beating again, it'll get their breath, like their oxygen
Yeah.
moving. So I just
I
thought
don't know.
that was disgusting, anyways.
Alright, so with intercept form, again, remember these signs are important. They both need to be negative. If not, then you gotta figure out how to make it so it's negative. So these are our intercept points, K, P, and Q. The vertex is halfway between P and Q, so if you can see it quickly, like what it is, then that's cool. But if not, then you just add the two values together and then divide by 2.
So adding P and Q gives you the x-intercept?
This will give you one intercept, this will give you the other, and then adding them together and dividing by 2 will give you the vertex and axis of symmetry. Or, well, it'll show you where the vertex is. You'll still need the y value, I guess, technically, but. Alright, so 14.
Why do they have so many different forms? You can just use the easiest one.
Technically, you can factor them all through and get them in standard form if you wanted to, and just do it that way.
That seems no.
No, that just
I
sounds
like
more
the
work
vertex form.
Me too. It's great. It's
So
a fun god.
The dude.
It's a math problem, Peyton.
You said it's a fun guy. It's a fun.
Alright, so this is what we want the signs to be. So if they're not that, then need to fix it. So my intercepts are going to be where?
Negative 1.
Negative 3.
No, positive 3.
Negative 1 and positive 3. Okay, because this one was already negative like it was supposed to be. So then to find the vertex, I'm going to do negative 1 plus 3 divided by 2, which is just going to be 1. So then plug in 1 up here. So 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. So 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So 1 negative 4 is going to be my vertex.
No, that one.
Really?
No, because if you get once you get bigger numbers.
And if you need to write out the actual, like, plugging it in, you can, but you don't have to.
Wait, how do you know the axis of symmetry?
Isn't it just the number?
It's just the x value.
I mean the one, not the number.
These ones technically don't actually ask you to tell what the axis of symmetry is, so if you don't write it, that's fine. I guess technically they do, but you can just draw it in when you draw the vertex. Alright, so the intercepts of negative 1 and negative 3. So these are on the x-axis, obviously. So at negative 1, and then, did I say negative 3? I meant 3. At 3. Okay, so now you visually could have looked at this, split it down the middle, and figured it out yourself. Well, you can figure out what the axis of symmetry is. You still would have had to plug in the number to get the vertex. But we have the vertex is at 1, negative 4. And I guess I'll go ahead and draw in my axis of symmetry here. So basically, this one saves you from having to do the step of finding the second point that you need to actually graph it, but it doesn't, I don't know. I mean, it still requires like a step of like math, I guess. So, I mean, they have all the different forms have their pros and
But I
cons.
like that the integers are already given.
I have mixed feelings
I have
about
mixed feelings on
all of these formulas.
The first one I just
Because
don't like.
it's math anyways.
I
so
just
it's
don't like the first one.
No.
The first one is definitely the worst.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright. Y equals 2 times x minus 5 times x minus 1. Alright, so these are both supposed to be negative, and they already are. So what does that mean about my intercepts?
Positive.
So my intercepts are at 5 and at 1. So my vertex, 5 plus 1 over 2. So that's at 3. So plug in 3 up here. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. And then 3 minus 1 is 2. So negative 2 times 2
-4,
times 2,
-8.
negative 8. So my vertex is at 3, negative 8.
Do a lot of brain math there. It wasn't hard. It was just wasn't ready for it.
Okay, and just like with the other ones, if there's a negative in front, it would open down instead. All right, so intercept at 5 and also at 1. Vertex at 3, negative 8.
Oh, other one, or negative 1.
And axis of symmetry. Parabolas are looking a little rough today.
Mine, I just don't.
Whee.
Mine always have a
I
point.
can't even put it to
I
the
can't
top.
get mine to like not have
I
a
made
point.
my negative x.
It's fine. They're not even
smaller
even. Oh my
because
goodness.
I was about
It's
to
fine.
plot the 3 and the -8 as the intercepts. I was like, wait a minute, that's gonna be so wrong.
No, it's not an arrow. It's just dotted line. I don't know why I want to draw an arrow.
I just
Ooh,
this
the axis
week,
of symmetry.
I don't know why, but this week it's just felt so tiring. I've been so tired this entire week. I don't know why. Can't anymore. Yes. I'm excited for the Christmas party.
Oh my gosh, me
Saturday, though.
too. I get to wear my ugly sweater. It's not even that ugly.
So mine isn't either.
It has Santa riding a unicorn, and it says "Don't Stop Believing," and I just love it so much.
That's great.
I'll never wear it again, but it's fine.
Not to your next ugly sweater party,
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, the next ones are not graphing anymore. They just say to write the quadratic function in standard form.
I don't know if I want to do that though.
So y equals x plus 4 times x plus 3. So this is real hard. You're just gonna foil.
That's too complicated.
Okay, so if I foil this, what do I get?
X
Let's see,
squared.
x squared.
So be first, and then outside, so
3x.
plus
3x.
3x. Inside
4x.
plus 4x. Plus 12. Nathan?
Sorry.
Josh, don't even. You're always the one that's like, is the answer.
Well,
Answer. So
All right.
let people have their sunshine. I mean,
So- In standard form, there you go. I'm about to drop
Is
my
it bad
pencil.
that I still have to draw the lines, the little arrows?
Oh,
I still draw the
It's
arrows.
totally fine.
It just helps
Fine.
me.
I technically usually do
I'll
what
let you
Mr.
have
Cass
it.
always called as phi oil. I would do first inside, outside, last.
Fine oil?
So I pretty much always do the x squared, then I'll do the 4x, then I'll do the 3x, then
It
I'll
doesn't
do.
I
really
just
make
have
a
to do
difference.
opposite.
It doesn't matter. Actually, a lot of times I don't even write down both terms. I
Wait.
just am like, okay, 4x and 3x and 7x.
Right. 'Cause you know.
Which is totally fine. You don't have to write
But
down
see,
all
if
the
you
pieces.
do like 3x and then the x squared, oh no, then that would make it all weird, and then you have to switch it around to the actual form.
I just usually do, for some reason, first inside, outside,
I mean,
last.
technically, however way
Doesn't
you
matter.
do it,
My
it'll
brain
still
just
come
wants
out
to
as
do
the
the
right
X
same
and-
answer
I
if you
know.
know how to.
As long as you write them in descending order, I don't really care.
Yeah. My brain just wants to do x and 3
Just
first.
do the
But when I was
first.
teaching, I taught this to Algebra 1 yesterday. I was like, we do it in this order every time.
Can't get a grasp on it.
I was just like, it's easier just to say we do it the same way every time.
We had to do it in science class this year for the dihybrid, like
Mm.
Punnett squares, and I was like, I forgot how to do this.
Punnett squares are so fun.
I love Punnett squares. It's like science and math.
It's math.
It's
It's
kinda
science
like
math.
math.
That's actually fun.
Yeah. All right.
Isn't bad, but-
So with this one, we're still gonna foil this part first, and then we'll just multiply everything by 4 after that. So you're gonna end up with 4 times, and then y'all can tell me what this FOIL gives me.
X squared
Plus
minus 6x
Now that I actually know how to do this. Pretty-
plus
Plus
1x.
which is x.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, I put a 1.
I always do that.
I always do that too.
I had a class that every single person in the class did that every time, and I was like, why are you writing the 1?
Really? I always.
I mean, it doesn't make a difference.
It's
but
fun. Like, it's nothing wrong with it. I just didn't understand. Like,
minus
Mr. Cass would yell at us if we put the 1. He's like, it doesn't need a 1. Okay.
Sorry. Minus 6. That's funny.
And be like, I don't understand why you feel the need to write a 1. I don't know.
I just need to write.
It's my emotional support one.
Alright, then we multiply it also 4x squared minus 20x squared minus 24. Yay.
Math problem.
Multiply
You can go one of those math videos where they do the problem and you're like explaining.
it. Explain the problem.
All right, one more.
Khan videos or whatever. It's like, what are they called? Khan Academy videos. I've watched some of those for the PSATs and I was like, none of this stuff is on it.
All right, g of x equals negative times x plus 6 squared plus 10.
I don't know if that was good. I don't think it's a thing.
Are we changing this?
Oh, no foiling?
No, we are still going to FOIL,
Huh?
because this is squared.
Oh.
I just want to specify, because some people will try to do this, this is not putting the 2 on both of these. This is this whole thing being squared. So we are going to FOIL, so it's going to be negative times x plus 6 times x plus 6. Okay, we write it twice, and then plus 10.
So I think
And we're going to FOIL this, then multiply by the negative, then add the 10. So negative times, and I'll let y'all tell me what the FOIL is.
x squared plus 12x, because we know there's 2 6x's, so let's just get out of the way. Plus 36. I'm sorry, Peyton.
In case anybody wants to see it, it's 6x plus 6x that gives us that.
Sorry,
I was like, hold up.
I'm moving too fast.
When
It's like,
did-
I typically will skip the step myself, but I usually when I'm doing the notes, I'll actually write it.
I'm that person that has to check over to make sure they did that one step correctly like 30 times on a
I know,
test.
right?
That's why it takes me forever to do tests and quizzes, because I'm like,
And
Did
then
I-
multiply by the negative, everything's negative now. You're welcome. Of course.
So then now we just need to add the 10 on.
Which equals negative 26. I think.
Good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we need to see any more?
It was actually like, no, but it wasn't.
I know it was like, I was like, is she not good?
No, I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. I don't know. it just
You
came
say
out wrong.
that just meant you know how to do it, you just don't want to do it. You
Yeah,
know?
okay, I'll stay. I'll
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
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 Yeah, yeah. Today's just been a roller coaster of emotions.
All right, optional extras 3 and 13.
Thank you, John.
If you feel like you need more.
You've been up and down, look at that.